Hi there, everybody. Welcome to the Mostly Mundane Adventures of Jim. This is part 5. Last time I talked to you about farm cats. Today I'd like to start off with farm wives. Farm wives. They lived in the kitchen. My mother worked or was on call 24 hours a day, cooking, cleaning up the kitchen 21 times per week. Nobody that we knew ever ate out. I was with my bishop grandparents one time shopping in Louisville, and being far from home, we ate out. After our meal, my grandmother wanted to go back to the kitchen to help clean up. They said, "Thank you, but no." Besides kitchen duties, farm wives cleaned house, washed clothes with a wringer washer, and hung the laundry on the line outside to dry. They picked produce from the garden, and what they didn't cook for supper, they canned. If we had a cut or bruise or poison ivy, go see Dr. Mommy. On call at night, if we had a bad dream or threw up on our pillow, and I did that once, "Mommy." Our mother went to Indiana University for 2 years up until World War II. Guess what she majored in? Home economics. Our mom didn't drive a car. We had one car, and Dad needed it to go to work as a carpenter in town and come home so he could be a farmer, tending to the critters and the very large garden and home maintenance. Dad grew the beans. We children picked them and broke them. Mom cooked and canned them, and after dinner she cleaned the plates we ate them on. And we children helped out in the kitchen, washing and drying dishes. Well, sometimes, whenever she asked. If Mom had only prepared our necessary food, it would have been enough. But she had learned from the Bible about going the extra mile, and in her lifetime she baked thousands of pies. Late in her life, she actually added it up. She must have really liked us, especially because for a good part of her life, she couldn't eat sweets due to her hypoglycemia. We were not a huggy, kissy family, but we always knew that we were loved. Florida. Suddenly, everything changed. I was 5, just getting used to being a farm boy. One day I looked outside and Dad was pulling the back seat out of our 1941 Plymouth and giving it to the cats in the woodshed. Then my older siblings started carrying suitcases, bags, and boxes out to the car, and also my Donald Duck juice can. They filled the trunk and the floor where the seat used to be up to the top of the front seat. Last of all came out a small mattress to be placed on top of all the other things. And then Smokey, my teddy bear with the blue button eyes. He had to be helped out because he could no longer see since his surgery. When the mattress had been set in place, one of my brothers turned to me and said, "That's where you're going to ride." Ride? Ride where? The only place I ever rode was to Mitchell and back. We were moving to Florida. I didn't know that Florida was the name of a state, far, far away from our Indiana home. Alan, Bill, David, and Susan were staying with our bishop grandparents in Mitchell so they could finish up the school year. Times had been hard for us financially, and Dad's health had suffered from the cold Indiana winters, so we were headed to the sunny South in search of better work and better health for Dad. The next thing I knew, I was being helped up onto my new perch and everyone was waving goodbye. I was pretty confused, but it was all kind of fun, sort of like an adventure. David, Alan, Bill, and Susan left behind. When will we be there? From my car loft, I could see out of the windows. When we got to the highway, instead of turning left to go to Mitchell, we turned right to go to Florida. In a few miles, we slowed down for a town called Orleans. Is this Florida? No, it's a long ways from here. We continued down Highway 37 and slowed down for Paoli. Is this Florida? No. When will we be there? 3 more days we drove, 3 more days, they said. We drove for another hour and came to a large river and a large bridge with a large city on the other side. Ah, Florida at last. So I thought. No, it was Louisville, Kentucky. What? When will we be there? My parents tell me that I kept that up all the way to the Sunshine State. The amazing thing about my parents was their patience. This was something they learned from God. If it had been any other set of parents, I might have been set off to the side of the road. Dad was prone to falling asleep at the wheel, and Mom didn't drive, and 5-year-olds weren't allowed to either. It was a challenge in a car with no air conditioning or radio on a journey like this to stay awake. To combat drowsiness, Dad would suddenly burst into song. Kneel at the cross, Christ will meet you there, or one of his many other favorites. And another way he chose to wake himself up was to shout things out the window, and sometimes in the middle of town, like, "Help, she's beating me." Mom would turn red in the face and slide down in the seat. Still not there. Although we'd arrived at that place called Florida, we had a long way to go. Dad and Mom began looking closely in towns that we came to. Is there work? Is there a good church? How are the schools? Where would we live? Well, we lived in motels and a trailer park while Dad went out exploring. Okay, well, that's it for this time. Tune in again next Saturday for part 6 of my adventure series. Thank you for joining me today. God bless you.